Okay, so your vocab notebook should be opened up to a brand new clean page. We are on a new part. Remember, make sure to use the backs, otherwise you might run out of space by the end of the year. I really don't want you to have to buy a new vocab notebook because then you might not need all 3 sections. Okay, so at the top, the title of today's vocab is wonder. Remember, all the first letters of all the words in a title are capitalized. Wonder. Part 3. Chapters 1 through 6. We're going to underline that and then write today's date, November 3rd, 2020. So today's notes are called Wonder, Part 3, Chapters 1 through 6, and then you should have today's date. We're reading so many chapters today because we're going to read all of Part 3. Part 3 is short, so we're going to read the whole thing. There's a couple parts. I think there's maybe one more where we read the whole thing in one day because it's not super long. Okay, so you have 3 words for Part 3. We're going to start our numbering over. Number 1 goes on the left side of the pink line. Make sure that all of your words line up with the pink line. Do not start them way over here. Okay, the first word is the word vibe. V-I-B-E. Vibe. V-I-B-E. Remember, when you're writing, make sure short letters like V, I, and E only take up half the line. B is a tall letter. Make sure it is lowercase and it takes up the whole line. Make sure your I has the dot above it. A vibe is a noun. It is a thing or an idea. N-O-U-N are all short letters, so they should all only take up half of the line. And then you should have a semicolon. Vibe is a noun, and it is a feeling someone gets, not 4. A feeling someone gets from another person, place, or thing. So a vibe, V-I-B-E, is a noun. That means it's a person, place, thing, or idea. And it is a feeling that someone gets from another person, place, or thing. Ethan, we're on a brand new part, so start on a brand new clean piece, a clean sheet. So a vibe, V-I-B-E, it is a noun. That means it's a person, place, thing, or idea. In this case, it would be a thing or an idea. And it is a feeling someone gets from another person, place, or thing. Here it is in context. I was getting a pretty bad vibe from him. So when you're listening to the story, you're trying to think, okay, who's saying this? Why are they getting this bad vibe? Who are they getting this bad vibe from? Okay, number 2 is the word illuminate. Illuminate. I-L-L-U-M-I-N-A-T-E. Illuminate. Illuminate. I-L-L-U-M-I-N-A-T-E. It is a verb. A verb is a what? What's a verb? Michaela? An action. It can also be something, a verb that says what you are or what something is. So illuminate is a verb, and it means to light up. Bless you. Or make bright. With light. So illuminate, I-L-L-U-M-I-N-A-T-E is a verb. It is an action. And it means to light up or to make bright with light. Illuminate is I-L-L-U-M-I-N-A-T-E. Oh yeah, Aaron, these are you're going to get all 3 words today, so make sure you've got everything copied exactly as it is on the board. Here it is in context. Since it was dark, we used our flashlights to illuminate the artifacts while we were talking. So as you're listening to the story, you want to listen for illuminate, figure out why is it dark? Why do they need to illuminate things? Who is speaking? What is going on? Number 3 is the word oath. Oath. O-A-T-H. Oath. An oath is another noun. In this case, a thing or an idea, because it is a serious promise. So not just a regular old promise, but a serious promise. Oath is O-A-T-H. It is a noun, which is a person, place, thing, or idea. In this case, it's a thing or maybe an idea, and it means a serious promise. So one that you a promise that you have to keep. Otherwise, you might be in big trouble. And here it is in context. I wasn't about to break my solid oath that I wouldn't tell anyone about what he overheard at Halloween. But I felt bad for Jack. So as you're listening, when you listen for the word oath, you're trying to figure out, nobody should have their book open right now, you're trying to figure out who made an oath, who did they make the oath to, what was that oath? Okay, any questions about the vocab? Aaron, any questions?
How do you spell
S-E-R-I-O-U-S. Anybody else need me to spell any words? Make sure all your short letters are short, tall letters are tall, letters with the tail like P's, G's, J's. Can't think of any others right now. All they go below the line, Y's. Make sure that as you're checking, you are checking each individual word and punctuation, even down to the letter. Make sure that you are copying it exactly as it appears. Lowercase. Tall letters are tall, short letters are short. Letters with a tail have a tail below the line. Make sure all punctuation is exactly the same. Make sure all words are there and that they have all the same exact letters. Do not leave out words, do not leave out letters, do not leave out punctuation. Don't capitalize things that should be that should be lowercase. Don't write things lowercase that should be capitalized. There are no capital letters in these definitions, only the title. Yes, Kingston.
Is a vow technically an oath?
A vow and an oath would be synonyms. Yes, because a vow is also a serious promise. So those are 2 words that mean the same thing. They are synonyms.
What's the thing that comes with a J?
A semicolon.
Why do you put a semicolon when you put vow?
Because I'm showing that noun is not part of the definition. Noun is the part of speech, and then we're ending, but it's not a sentence. We're not going to put a period and starting a new thought, but it's not a sentence.
Or after promise?
There is no semicolon after promise.
So why did we put a semicolon in promise and then put vow?
Because we don't really have to, but that is a synonym. We're not going to find synonyms every single time, just sometimes. But a vow would be a synonym. And most of the time when we find synonyms, we're going to use something that everybody knows so that it makes sense. Okay, go ahead and put your vocab notebooks away. Wonder should be out. There should be nothing else out. So Ethan, please put that in your return to school. Do not put your vocab notebooks away without closing them first. If you put them away without closing them, then pages are going to rip off. Pencils should be put completely away. They should not be out. There should be absolutely nothing on your desk other than your book and your bookmark. You should be sitting up straight and tall with your legs down or as close to the ground as you can get them. Pencils should not be out. Chairs should be scooted in so that your chest is just barely touching the top of your desk. Yes, Kingston? Just put it away, please, quickly. There's no questions that need to be asked. Just do it. Make sure you're sitting up straight, all the way scooted in so that your chest is just barely touching your chair. Your legs are in front of your chair, under your desk. You are sitting up straight, backs all the way back in the chair. Books, hands on your desk, on your book. Books should be flat on your desk. That you can tilt them up a little, but they should not be covering your face. Head should be up and off hands. Make sure that you are sitting up straight. Your back should be all the way back in your chair. Your chest should just barely be touching the top of your desk. Feet should be still. And you should be open to page 118. We're on page 118. Make sure your book is flat on your desk or just barely tilted up. Okay, finger ready to follow along on page 118. Part 3, Summer. Carla, make sure you are following along. You are beautiful no matter what they say. Words can't bring you down. You are beautiful in every single way. Yes, words can't bring you down. That's from the song Beautiful by Christina Aguilera. Make sure your finger is ready to follow along. Chapter 1, Weird Kids. Some kids have actually come out and asked me why I hang out with the freak so much. These are kids that don't even know him well. If they knew him, they wouldn't call him that. Because he's a nice kid, I always answer, and don't call him that. You're a saint, Summer, Zamina Chin said to me the other day. I couldn't do what you're doing. It's not a big deal, I answered her truthfully. Did Mr. Tushman ask you to be friends with him? Charlotte Cody asked. No, I'm friends with him because I want to be friends with him, I answered. Who knew that my sitting with August Pullman at lunch would be such a big deal? People acted like it was the strangest thing in the world. It's weird how weird kids can be. I sat with him that first day because I felt sorry for him. That's all. Here he was, this strange-looking kid in a brand new school. No one was talking to him. Everyone was staring at him. All the girls at my table were whispering about him. He wasn't the only new kid at Beecher Prep, but he was the only one everyone was talking about. Julian had nicknamed him the Zombie Kid, and that's what everyone was calling him. Did you see the Zombie Kid yet? Stuff like that gets around fast, and August knew it. It's hard enough being the new kid even when you have a normal face. Imagine having his face. So I just went over and sat with him. Not a biggie. I wish people would stop trying to turn it into something major. He's just a kid. The weirdest looking kid I've ever seen, yes, but just a kid. Chapter 2, The Plague. I do admit, August's face takes some getting used to. I've been sitting with him for 2 weeks now, and let's just say he's not the neatest eater in the world. But other than that, he's pretty nice. I should also say that I don't really feel sorry for him anymore. That might have been what made me sit down with him the first time, but it's not why I keep sitting down with him. I keep sitting down with him because he's fun. One of the things I'm not loving about this year is how a lot of the kids are acting like they're too grown up to play things anymore. All they want to do is hang out and talk at recess. And all they talk about is who likes who and who's cute and who isn't cute. August doesn't bother about that stuff. He likes to play Foursquare at recess, which I love to play too. It was actually because I was playing Foursquare with August that I found out about the plague. Apparently, this is a game that's been going on since the beginning of the year. Anyone who accidentally touches August has only 30 seconds to wash their hands or find hand sanitizer before they catch the plague. I'm not sure what happens if you actually catch the plague because nobody's touched August yet. Not directly. How I found out about this is that Maya Markowitz told me that the reason she won't play Foursquare with us at recess is that she doesn't want to catch the plague. I was like, what's the plague? And she told me. I told Maya I thought that was really dumb, and she agreed, but she still wouldn't touch a ball that August just touched. Not if she could help it. Chapter 3, the Halloween party. I was really excited because I got an invitation to Savannah's Halloween party. Savannah is probably the most popular girl in the school. All the boys like her. All the girls want to be friends with her. She was the first girl in the grade to actually have a boyfriend. It was some kid who goes to MS 281, though she dumped him and started dating Henry Joplin, which makes sense because the two of them totally look like teenagers already. Anyway, even though I'm not in the popular group, I somehow got invited, which is very cool. When I told Savannah I got her invitation and would be going to her party, she was really nice to me, though she made sure to tell me that she didn't invite a lot of people, so I shouldn't go around bragging to anyone that I got invited. Maya didn't get invited, for instance. Savannah also made sure to tell me not to wear a costume. It's good she told me because, of course, I would have worn a costume to a Halloween party. Not the unicorn costume I made for the Halloween parade, but the goth girl getup that I'd worn to school. But even that was a no-no for Savannah's party. The only negative about my going to Savannah's party was that now I wouldn't be able to go to the parade and the unicorn costume would be wasted. That was kind of a bummer, but okay. Make sure you're following along with your finger. Anyway, the first thing that happened when I got to her party was that Savannah greeted me at the door and asked, "Where's your boyfriend, Summer?" I didn't even know what she was talking about. "I guess he doesn't have to wear a mask at Halloween, right?" she added. And then I knew she was talking about August. "He's not my boyfriend," I said. "I know, I'm just kidding." She kissed my cheek. All the girls in her group kissed each other's cheeks now whenever they said hello, and threw my jacket on a coat rack in her hallway. Then she took me by the hand down the stairs to her basement, which is where the party was. I didn't see her parents anywhere. There were about 15 kids there. All of them were popular kids from either Savannah's group or Julian's group. I guess they've all kind of merged into one big super group of popular kids, now that some of them have started dating each other. I didn't even know there were so many couples. I mean, I knew about Savannah and Henry, but Zamina and Miles, and Ellie and Amos? Ellie's practically as flat as I am. Anyway, about 5 minutes after I got there, Henry and Savannah were standing next to me, literally hovering over me. "So, we want to know why you hang out with the zombie kid so much," said Henry. "He's not a zombie," I laughed, like they were making a joke. I was smiling, but I didn't feel like smiling. "You know, Summer," said Savannah, "you would be a lot more popular if you didn't hang out with him so much. I'm going to be completely honest with you. Julian likes you. He wants to ask you out." "He does? Do you think he's cute?" Yeah, I guess. Yeah, he's cute." "So you have to choose who you want to hang out with," Savannah said. She was talking to me like a big sister would talk to a little sister. "Everyone likes you, Summer. Everyone thinks you're really nice and that you're really, really pretty. You could totally be a part of our group if you wanted to. And believe me, there are a lot of girls in our grade who would love that." "I know," I nodded. "Thank you." "You're welcome," she answered. "You want me to tell Julian to come and talk to you?" I looked over to where she was pointing and could see Julian looking over at us. I actually need to go to the bathroom. Where is that?" I went to where she pointed, sat down on the side of the bathtub, and called Mom and asked her to pick me up. "Is everything okay?" said Mom. "Yeah, I just don't want to stay," I said. Mom didn't ask any more questions and said she'd be there in 10 minutes. "Don't ring the bell," I told her. "Just call me when you're outside." I hung out in the bathroom until Mom called, and then I snuck upstairs without anyone seeing me, got my jacket, and went outside. It was only 9:30. The Halloween parade was in full swing down Amesfort Avenue. Huge crowds everywhere. Everyone was in costume. Skeletons, pirates, princesses, vampires, superheroes, but not one unicorn. Chapter 4, November. The next day at school, I told Savannah I had eaten some really bad Halloween candy and gotten sick, which is why I went home early from our party, and she believed me. There was actually a stomach bug going around, so it was a good lie. I also told her that I had a crush on someone else that wasn't Julian, so she would leave me alone about that and hopefully spread the word to Julian that I wasn't interested. She, of course, wanted to know who I had a crush on, and I told her it was a secret. August was absent the day after Halloween, and when he came back, I could tell something was up with him. He was acting so weird at lunch. He barely said a word and kept looking down at his food when I talked to him, like he wouldn't even look me in the eye. Finally, I was like, "Augie, is everything okay? Are you mad at me or something?" "No," he said. "Sorry you weren't feeling well on Halloween. I kept looking for Boba Fett in the hallways." "Yeah, I was sick." "Did you have the stomach bug?" "Yeah, I guess." He opened a book and started to read, which was kind of rude. "I'm so excited about the Egyptian Museum project," I said. "Aren't you?" He shook his head, his mouth full of food. I actually looked away because between the way he was chewing, which almost seemed like he was being gross on purpose, and the way his eyes were just kind of closed down, I was getting a really bad vibe from him. "What project did you get?" I asked. He shrugged, pulled a little scrap of paper from his jeans pocket, and flicked it across the table to me. Everyone in the grade got assigned an Egyptian artifact to work on for Egyptian Museum Day, which was in December. The teachers wrote all the assignments down on tiny scraps of paper, which they put into a fishbowl, and then all us kids in the grade took turns picking the papers out of the fishbowl at assembly. So I unfolded Augie's little slip of paper. "Oh, cool," I said, maybe a little overexcited because I was trying to get him psyched up. "You got the step pyramid of Saqqara." "I know," he said. "I got Anubis, the god of the afterlife." "The one with the dog head?" "It's actually a jackal head," I corrected him. "Hey, you want to start working on our projects together after school? You could come over to my house." He put his sandwich down and leaned back in his chair. I can't even describe the look he was giving me. "You know, Summer," he said, "you don't have to do this." "What are you talking about?" "You don't have to be friends with me. I know Mr. Tushman talked to you." "I have no idea what you're talking about." "You don't have to pretend, is all I'm saying. I know Mr. Tushman talked to some kids before school started and told them they had to be friends with me." "He did not talk to me, August." "Yeah, he did." "No, he did not." "Yeah, he did." "No, he didn't. I swear on my life." I put my hands up in the air so he could see I wasn't crossing my fingers. He immediately looked down at my feet, so I shook off my Uggs so he could see that my toes weren't crossed. "You're wearing tights," he said accusingly. "You can see my toes are flat," I yelled. "Okay, you don't have to scream." "I don't like being accused of things, okay?" "Okay, I'm sorry." "You should be." "He really didn't talk to you?" "Augie!" Okay, I'm really sorry." I would have stayed mad at him longer, but then he told me about something bad that had happened to him on Halloween, and I couldn't stay mad at him anymore. Basically, he heard Jack bad-mouthing him and saying really horrible things behind his back. It kind of explained his attitude, and now I knew why he'd been out sick. "Promise you won't tell anyone," he said. "I won't," I nodded. "Promise you won't ever be mean like that to me again?" "Promise," he said, and we pinky swore. Chapter 5. Warning, this kid is rated R. I had warned Mom about August's face. I had described what he looked like. I did this because I know she's not always so good at faking her feelings, and August was coming over for the first time today. I even sent her a text at work to remind her about it. but I could tell from the expression on her face when she came home after work that I hadn't prepared her enough. She was shocked when she came through the door and saw his face for the first time. "Hi, Mom, this is Augie. Can he stay for dinner?" I asked quickly. It took a second for my question to even register. "Hi, Augie," she said. Of course, sweetheart, if it's okay with Augie's mother." While Augie called his mother on his cell phone, I whispered to Mom, "Stop making that weirded out face." She had that look like when she's watching the news and some horrific event has happened. She nodded quickly, like she hadn't realized she was making a face, and was really nice and normal to Augie afterward. After a while, Augie and I got tired of working on our projects and went to hang out in the living room. Augie was looking at the pictures on the mantle, and he saw a picture of me and Daddy. "Is that your dad?" he said. "Yeah." "I didn't know you were, what's the word? Biracial?" "Yeah, that's the word." "Yeah." He looked at the picture again. "Are your parents divorced? I've never seen him at drop-off or anything." "Oh, no," I said. "He was a platoon sergeant. He died a few years ago." "Whoa, I didn't know that." "Yeah," I nodded, handing him a picture of my dad in his uniform. "Wow, look at all those medals." "Yeah, he was pretty awesome." "Wow. Summer, I'm sorry." "Yeah, it sucks. I really miss him a lot." "Yeah, wow," he nodded, handing me back the picture. "Have you ever known anyone who died?" I asked. "Just my grandmother, and I don't really even remember her." "That's too bad." Augie nodded. "You ever wonder what happens to people when they die?" I asked. He shrugged. "Not really. I mean, I guess they go to heaven. That's where my grands went." "I think about it a lot," I said. "I think when people die, their souls go to heaven just for a little while. Like that's where they see their old friends and stuff and kind of catch up on old times. But then I actually think the souls start thinking about their lives on earth, like if they were good or bad or whatever. And then they get born again as brand new babies in the world." "Why would they want to do that?" "Because then they get another chance to get it right," I answered. "Their souls get a chance to have a do-over." He thought about what I was saying and then nodded. "Kind of like when you get a makeup test," he said. "Right. But they don't come back looking the same," he said. "I mean, they look completely different when they come back, right?" "Oh yeah," I answered. "Your soul stays the same, but everything else is different." "I like that," he said, nodding a lot. "I really like that, Summer. That means in my next life, I won't be stuck with this face." He pointed to his face when he said that and batted his eyes, which made me laugh. "I guess not," I shrugged. "Hey, I might even be handsome," he said, smiling. "That would be so awesome, wouldn't it? I could come back and be this good-looking dude and be super buff and super tall." I laughed again. He was such a good sport about himself. That's one of the things I like the most about Augie. "Hey, Augie, can I ask you a question?" "Yeah," he said, like he knew exactly what I wanted to ask. I hesitated. I've been wanting to ask him this for a while, but I've always lost the guts to ask. "What?" he said. "You want to know what's wrong with my face?" "Yeah, I guess, if it's okay for me to ask." He shrugged. I was so relieved that he didn't seem mad or sad. "Yeah, it's no big deal," he said casually. "The main thing I have is this thing called mandibulofacial dysostosis, which took me forever to learn how to pronounce, by the way. But I also have this other syndrome thing that I can't even pronounce. And these things kind of just morph together into one big super thing, which is so rare they don't even have a name for it. I mean, I don't want to brag or anything, but I'm actually considered something of a medical wonder, you know?" He smiled. "That was a joke," he said. "You can laugh." I smiled and shook my head. "You're funny, Augie," I said. "Yes, I am," he said proudly. "I am cool beans." Chapter 6, The Egyptian Tomb. Make sure you're following along. Over the next month, August and I hung out a lot after school, either at his house or my house. August's parents even invited Mom and me over for dinner a couple of times. I overheard them talking about fixing Mom up on a blind date with August's Uncle Ben. On the day of the Egyptian Museum exhibit, we were all really excited and kind of giddy. It had snowed the day before, not as much as it had snowed over Thanksgiving break, but still, snow is snow. The gym was turned into a giant museum with everyone's Egyptian artifact displayed on a table with a little caption card explaining what the thing was. Most of the artifacts were really great, but I have to say, I really think mine and August's were the best. My sculpture of Anubis looked pretty real, and I had even used real gold paint on it. And August had made his step pyramid out of sugar cubes. It was 2 feet high and 2 feet long. And he had spray painted the cubes with this kind of fake sand paint or something. It looked so awesome. We all dressed up in Egyptian costumes. Some of the kids were Indiana Jones type archaeologists. Some of them dressed up like pharaohs. August and I dressed up like mummies. Our faces were covered except for 2 little holes for the eyes and 1 little hole for the mouth. When the parents showed up, they all lined up in the hallway in front of the gym. Then we were told we could go get our parents, and each kid got to take his or her parent on a flashlight tour around the dark gym. August and I took our moms around together. We stopped at each exhibit, explaining what it was, talking in whispers, answering questions. Since it was dark, we used our flashlights to illuminate the artifacts while we were talking. Sometimes, for dramatic effect, we would hold the flashlights under our chins while we were explaining something in detail. It was so much fun, hearing all these whispers in the dark, seeing all the light zigzagging around the dark room. At one point, I went over to get a drink at the water fountain. I had to take the mummy wrap off my face. "Hey, Summer," said Jack, who came over to talk to me. He was dressed like the man from The Mummy. "Cool costume." "Thanks." "Is the other mummy August?" "Yeah." Hey, do you know why August is mad at me?" "Uh-huh," I nodded. "Can you tell me?" "No." He nodded. He seemed bummed. "I told him I wouldn't tell you," I explained. "It's so weird," he said. "I have no idea why he's mad at me all of a sudden. None. Can you at least give me a hint?" I looked over at where August was across the room, talking to our moms. I wasn't about to break my solid oath that I wouldn't tell anyone about what he overheard at Halloween. But I felt bad for Jack. "Bleeding scream," I whispered in his ear, and then walked away. Okay, go ahead and close your books. Who heard vibe? Aaron, loudly.
I heard it when someone said she had a really bad vibe from
Okay, what was the situation? Why did she have a bad vibe? What gave her the bad vibe? Anyone can answer. What gave her who is her? Summer. What gave Summer the bad vibe? She had the bad vibe she got a bad vibe from who, Aaron? August. Why did she get that bad vibe from August? Zadie?
Because he was like mad at her and she could tell.
He was mad at her and she could tell. She could tell he was acting weird. Very good. Illuminate. Who heard illuminate? Cullen.
When Summer and Augie were showing their parents around and all the lights were off when they were using the flashlight.
So what were they illuminating?
The darkness.
The darkness. Where?
In the gym.
In the gym. With what?
Flashlight.
Flashlight. So they were literally illuminating, making something lighter. Okay, who heard oath? Carla.
She said it wasn't about to be my soul oath.
Okay. Well, Carla, we know what the book says, but what was going on? What was the situation? Who made an oath?
August did.
Did August make the oath? Ethan? Summer made the oath. Who did she make the oath to? Ethan? Was it to Jack? To August. About what? What was her oath? What did he tell her? And what was her oath? So he told her what Jack said, and what was her oath? Good. Her oath was that she would not tell Jack or anyone else that August knew what Jack had said. Very good. Okay, go ahead and get out your Wonder Journals. Open them up to the first clean page and title them Wonder Part 3, Chapters 1 through 6, and then write the date. So go ahead, open your Wonder Journals, open to the first clean page, title them Wonder Part 3, Chapters 1 through 6, and then write today's date. Do not forget the date. Some of you are losing 5 points every time for forgetting the date. That makes it really hard for me to grade. Girls at home, you should have your questions out. Read the questions along with in your head while I read them out loud. Number 1, why does Summer sit with August? Now there's 2 reasons. Why did she first sit with August on that first day? Why does she keep sitting with him? So make sure you answer both of those questions. Why does she sit with him on the first day? Why does she continue to sit with him? Is it the same reason? Is it a different reason? Whatever. You need to answer both. Number 2, what are some things that the other kids say to Summer regarding August? What is her opinion of this? So when it says regarding August, it means what are some things that other kids say to Summer about August? So what do they say to her that has to do with August? What is her opinion of this? How does she feel about what they're telling her? Make sure you're paying attention. Scoot your chair and focus. Number 3, what does Summer like about August? So there's something that she really, really likes about him. What is that? And then use text evidence to support your answer. So once you say, what does Summer like about August? Then say, use a part of the story that shows him doing this thing. Okay? Number 4, explain what the plague is. There's a whole chapter on it. What is the plague? Number 5, what does Savannah talk to Summer about at her Halloween party? How does she react? Do you think this has anything to do with Summer leaving early? Explain. So, first part, what does Savannah talk to Summer about at that Halloween party? What does Savannah tell Summer? Then, how does Summer react? What does Summer think or say about what Savannah said? Do you think this has anything to do with Summer leaving early? So yes or no. Did she leave early because of what Savannah said? Then why do you think that? Why do you think she did leave early? Because of what Savannah said? Or why do you think she did not leave early because of what Savannah said? Do not just do what you did in that library assignment where you said, no, I don't think it's strange for this random person to stay in the house, because you don't feel like explaining why. Because you also, if you say no, she doesn't, you have to say, okay, why does she not leave early because of that? So don't just say no because you don't feel like explaining your answer, because you still have to explain your answer. I know that's why a lot of you said no, it's not strange for a random person to stay at somebody's house, because you didn't feel like saying why. Miss Miller knows that too. Number 6, what accusation does August make towards Summer? How does she react? An accusation is, what does August accuse her of? What does August say that Summer is doing? And how does she react? Mason, that's not going to be helpful at all. That's a consequence. Number 7, what does August learn about Summer when he goes to her house? So remember, August goes to her house. He learned something brand new about her that he did not know before. What was that? How did he learn that? That is how you can make this question longer than one sentence. Number 8, why do you think Jack asked Summer about August? Do you think she was right or wrong to give him a clue? Why? So, why did Jack come to Summer with that question? Why did he come to Summer instead of going to August or anybody else? Was she right or wrong to give him a clue? Do you think it was right of her to do that? Do you think it was wrong of her to do that? Why? Why do you think it was right of her? Why do you think it was wrong of her? Okay, some of you, I'm not going to write all that extra stuff because it takes too long and I shouldn't have to be doing this like 13 journals in. So you know, at least 2 complete sentences, correct grammar, use text evidence. Some of you are relying way too much on text evidence. You're only telling me what the story says. I know what the story says. I want to know what you say and what you think. Make sure, write the question, number it. You're starting to lose points for not numbering it. You're losing points for not copying the question exactly. If you misspell the word does, or August, or via, or whatever, you will lose a whole point every time. Because that's ridiculous. It's not dose, it's does. D-O-E-S, not D-O-S-E. August is the main character of the story. So you should not be spelling his name incorrectly. If some of you are continuously writing one sentence every single time, you will lose 10 points from now on. It is now November. If you write one sentence, you have automatically lost 10 points. Because write 2 sentences has been the rule for 13 journals. Does everybody understand? Does anybody have questions about the question? I have several people who are not paying attention at all, so I know that they're not going to understand at all what these questions mean. That's on you. That was your choice, so now you get the consequence of not understanding what the questions mean. Okay. You will have 15 minutes. Let me grab my phone. I don't know if you'll get the whole time. If not, I'll let Coach Jay know to bring you back about 10 minutes early, and we can finish the time then.
Miss Wallace,
Yes, Carla, quickly, please, because we're using up time.
is it okay if I stop my video so my granddad can scan
No, I'm
these?
fine. I can scan right here. It's definitely sad. I don't have a shirt on.
Okay. Oh, that's okay. But let's see. We're about to start, which Carla will need the 15 minutes. So if you want to wait until when she's doing PE, that would be great. Okay, because the 15 minutes start right now. So you need to be writing the whole 15 minutes. You need to give me 15 minutes of effort.